sessions we learn gas and liquid solutions. In the factors we learn to focus more effect of pressure. Based on that we was learn Henry's law and we solved numericals also. And solid solutions, in case of solid solutions factors we learn effect of temperature, and there also we learn dissolution of solids, sometimes exothermic and few solids are endothermic, and in few cases temperature and how their solubility are going to vary with temperature in case of exothermic dissolution, in case of endothermic dissolution. That all things we learn. Now in this session we are going to focus vapor pressure of pure liquid, vapor pressure of solution, and how vapor pressure is going to change for different liquids, how the vapor pressure exists, and what are the factors influencing vapor pressure, boiling point, how related to vapor pressure, what is the difference between boiling point and vapor pressure, we are going to learn in this session. Let us see. This is a vessel, open vessel. This open vessel consists some liquid. Hope we know very well. Those molecules which are in surface, they are having less interactions with other molecules. Of course, basically in liquids, intermolecular association is very high compared to gases, because in gases, in between gas molecules, distance is more, hence intermolecular association is less. In case of liquids, intermolecular association is more, and in solids much more. Okay, being in liquid, here molecule association is very high compared to gases, and those molecules which lies upon surface, they are having very less intermolecular forces. That means we can say those molecules, liquid molecules of surface, they are having less interactions, and that surface molecules can escape from liquid state to vapor state. The surface molecules can escape from liquid state to vapor state by absorbing heat energy. That means these liquid molecules may absorb heat energy and they may leave to vapor state. The process of escaping of more aggregate surface molecules of a liquid fastly by overcoming the intermolecular forces or attractive forces holding the liquid together. This is what we call evaporation. Evaporation, simply we can say, the process of escaping of liquid molecules from the surface, by absorbing heat energy. For what purpose they need to absorb? To overcome the intermolecular forces. Right? This process what we call evaporation. Evaporation is a different phenomenon. Boiling is different. Evaporation, boiling, both are not same. Evaporation may take place at any temperature, and evaporation takes place means only surface molecules may go to liquid state but not bulk. Suppose this molecule cannot go to vapor state directly. If this molecule want to go to vapor state, first of all it has to gain energy, and it has to overcome this force of attraction with all neighbor molecules, and slowly with increase in its energy, here this molecule moves up towards surface, and evaporation takes place from only surface. But a liquid molecule cannot go directly from bulk to vapor state. That won't happen. So evaporation is different. This phenomenon is what we call evaporation. But boiling happens when there is enough energy provided. Boiling happens when we provided enough energy to disrupt all the force of attraction throughout the liquid. Throughout the liquid means here whatever the molecule, wherever the location, means it's not like bottom, middle and surface, not like that. We need to provide much more energy. When we provide that much energy, for what purpose we are providing? To disrupt all the force of attraction with all the neighboring molecules. When we provide that much energy in order to overcome all these forces, then liquid molecule goes to vapor state. So boiling happens from anywhere. Boiling happens from anywhere throughout the liquid. That's why during boiling we can notice gas bubbles. During evaporation we cannot notice any gas bubble, because evaporation is a surface phenomenon. It won't happen from the bulk, whereas boiling happens from throughout the liquid. That's why we notice the gas bubbles. This happens in open vessel, right? Now let us consider a closed vessel. In this vessel liquid is there. Whether it is open vessel or closed vessel, at a particular temperature, liquid molecules can goes to vapor state. So just like that, here also this liquid molecule goes to vapor state. How many molecules can go to vapor state? That depends upon temperature. What temperature we are maintaining. Based upon the temperature what we are providing, few liquid molecules goes to vapor state. The difference in evaporation in closed vessel and open vessel, if we observe, in open vessel, liquid molecule when goes to vapor state, they leave the vessel. Whereas in case of closed vessel, liquid molecules vaporize and occupies the space above the liquid. And at a particular temperature, as we mentioned, what number of molecules can go from liquid state to vapor state, that's fixed. So after reaching that number, can we say operation stop? No, that won't happen. Actually what happened here is, at a particular temperature, initially suppose only liquid is there, slowly liquid molecules goes to vapor state. That means vaporization takes place, and along with vaporization, here there is one more process also takes place parallel to this. That's what we call the condensation. So this vaporization, condensation both takes place simultaneously, but initially only vaporization is there, and with increase in number of vapor molecules, then slowly reverse reaction, backward reaction, condensation takes place. Means after a certain time, here rate of evaporation and rate of condensation both will be same. That means after a certain time, rate of evaporation means rate of vaporization is equal to rate of condensation. This phenomenon, this situation or this state what we call equilibrium state. So after attainment of equilibrium, what number of liquid molecules goes to vapor state, what number of liquid molecules goes to vapor state, or the number of vapor molecules remains constant. Here as I mentioned that rate of evaporation means what number of molecules, liquid molecules goes to vapor state, and the same number of vapor molecules come back to liquid state. What number of liquid molecules goes to vapor state, the same number of vapor molecule again comes back to liquid state. So that what we call rate means number of molecules, number of liquid molecules goes to vapor state within a certain time. that is rate, right? So here what number of liquid molecules goes to vapor state within second time. With the same time, the same number of liquid molecules, vapor molecules again come back to liquid state. That state what we call equilibrium state. Once equilibrium established, once equilibrium established, then at equilibrium state, the number of vapor molecules over liquid remains the same. Means with time there is no change in the number of molecules. There will be remains the same, and these gas vapor molecules exert pressure because of collision with walls. Exert pressure because of collision with walls. The pressure exerted by vapor molecules, which is in equilibrium with its own liquid, is called vapor pressure. What is vapor pressure? The pressure exerted by vapor molecules which is in equilibrium with its liquid. That pressure what we call vapor pressure. Now, how do we measure vapor pressure? How do we measure vapor pressure? And what is the vapor pressure? How much it will be for a liquid? So, how much vapor pressure will be there for any given liquid? That depends upon temperature. Okay. And how do we measure? Let us take this closed vessel, and which consists of liquid initially, and at a particular temperature, here what happened? Few molecules goes to vapor state, and let us assume that this one is going to connect with manometer, closed end manometer. Earlier, when only liquid was there is no more vapor molecules. In such a case, mercury level and in both planes are remains the same. Mercury levels remains the same, and once this vaporization takes place and evaporation and condensation both takes place, and at a particular time rate of evaporation, rate of vaporization, rate of condensation both equal, means equilibrium established. After attainment of equilibrium, here what happened? It exerts some pressure under mercury here, then it will be changed like this. Here there will be difference in mercury level. Like this. Now this will be the mercury level. Because of vapor molecule exerts pressure upon the mercury, what happened? In this limb the mercury level comes down, and simultaneously in this limb mercury level goes up. Now the difference in between these two limbs, this what we call H. So based upon this difference in height of the mercury limb, we can calculate pressure. But don't consider that ideal gas equation what we learned in our 11th class. PV is equal to nRT. By using PV is equal to nRT, we are going to calculate pressure. We are not supposed to calculate like that. Vapor pressure we need to calculate in this way. So what extent of pressure exerted by vapor molecules which are in equilibrium with its own liquid at a given temperature is called vapor pressure. So vapor pressure, is it applicable for only liquids? No. For solids also vapor pressure exists. So volatile solids like iodine, camphor, naphthalene balls, these are all volatile solids. They will go from solid state to vapor state directly without going to liquid state. Then they also exert pressure, and that process what we call sublimation. So sublimation is nothing but a solid can directly goes to vapor state without going to liquid state. There is no liquid state. That, in other words, the solid whose melting and boiling point is same. Then what we call that solid undergoes sublimation. So solid state to directly vapor state, and it exerts pressure. That what we call vapor pressure of solid, vapor pressure of liquid. Hope you understand this vapor pressure. And in open vessel, in closed vessel, how do we measure vapor pressure of a liquid, right? So vapor pressure which factors influence vapor pressure? There are two factors mainly. First one is nature of liquid and the second one is temperature. These two factors influence vapor pressure, and during vaporization, let us suppose that liquid is water. H2O liquid goes to H2O vapor. For this reaction, equilibrium constant Kp is equal to partial pressure of water vapor. We should remember one point here. Kp is equal to partial pressure of water, and this pressure of water vapor only we need to consider because of this gas, and this liquid we are not supposed to consider. And this equilibrium constant depends upon only temperature. Equilibrium constant depends upon only temperature. Hence, vapor pressure of water also increases or depends upon temperature. Because of vapor pressure of water is nothing but equilibrium constant. Equilibrium constant depends upon temperature. Hence, we can say vapor pressure of water or any liquid depends upon temperature. Alright? Now, you keep this point, we will discuss little later regarding this concept. Now, nature of liquid, first factor. More volatile liquid, less volatile liquid. There are two types of liquids. Volatile liquids or non-volatile liquids. Volatile liquids, those liquids which are having less intermolecular interactions, and those liquids which can go readily vapor state. So, volatile liquids are having more vapor pressure because of readily goes to vapor state, and non-volatile liquid which do not goes to vapor state much readily. That's why volatile, non-volatile, volatile liquids have more vapor pressure, non-volatile liquids have lesser vapor pressure. Because of more vapor pressure, we can say less boiling point, and here less volatile liquids because of non-volatile, less volatile or which do not goes to vapor state readily, they are having more boiling point. So non-volatile liquids means which has strong intermolecular interactions, which are having more intermolecular interactions, and which are having less intermolecular interactions. More volatile, non-volatile. More volatile means more vapor pressure. Less non-volatile means less vapor pressure. And one more point here, more volatile, more vapor pressure but less boiling point. And non-volatile, less volatile, obviously more boiling point. And the second one is temperature, effect of temperature. With increasing temperature, Kp value increases. With increasing temperature, Kp value increases. Because of with increasing temperature, forward reaction is endothermic. Evaporation or vaporization is endothermic. Reverse reaction is exothermic. Since liquid converts into vapor, that process is endothermic. It needs energy. So when we provide more temperature, then more amount of liquid goes to vapor state. That means more vaporization takes place. Since more evaporation takes place or more vaporization takes place, we can say more vapor pressure of liquid. That means equilibrium constant also increases. All these are temperature related. Now, how temperature influences vapor pressure? With increase in temperature, vapor pressure increases exponentially. Clausius-Clapeyron's equation in previous sessions also we learned dependence of temperature given by Clausius-Clapeyron's equation. From this, vapor pressure at a given temperature P is equal to P naught into e power minus enthalpy of vaporization by RT. P is equal to P naught into e power minus enthalpy of vaporization upon RT. This is the basic equation. Let us apply here Lm before going to discuss logarithms. Here temperature what we are maintaining. This is the standard vapor pressure, and delta H is enthalpy of vaporization. Now LMP is equal to minus enthalpy of vaporization by RT plus P naught. Of course, this one is constant. This one is constant here. Now, in terms of log, here Ln means base E, log base 10 is equal to minus enthalpy of vaporization by 2.303 RT plus constant. Now, for all these three equations, we can draw three laws. For first, here vapor pressure of liquid at a given temperature is proportional to e power minus enthalpy of vaporization upon RT. For that, if you plot curve, here this one is exponential relation, vapor pressure versus temperature, where exponentially increases, and this vapor pressure increases up to a certain extent, where this vapor pressure is equal to external pressure. Here, let us assume external pressure is 1 atmosphere. This is 1 atmosphere. Okay. So, vapor pressure of liquid increases exponentially with increasing temperature. At a particular temperature, vapor pressure of liquid is equal to external pressure. This is P external and this is vapor pressure. So, vapor pressure is equal to external pressure. Now, this is what we call boiling point of the liquid. So the temperature at which vapor pressure of liquid is equal to external pressure. That what we call boiling point. Now, so with increasing temperature, vapor pressure of liquid increases exponentially. This is regarding first equation. Regarding second equation, if you observe, y is equal to mx plus c. Here c is constant, that is p naught. Here m is nothing but minus enthalpy of vaporization upon r. Here y is equal to mx plus c looks like. So upon y axis ln p means log base e p here, and this one is temperature, 1 by temperature, 1 by t. Here 1 by t, this one also we can write like this, 1 by t, and now this one is slope. That slope is negative. Here we are getting like this. This slope is nothing but minus enthalpy of vaporization by R. So when we plot LNP versus 1 by t, we are getting slope minus enthalpy of vaporization upon R. This is P naught here. And instead of ln, if we use log for third equation, we are getting log p versus 1 by t. We are getting again slope here. The slope is minus enthalpy of vaporization upon 2.303 R. Enthalpy of vaporization upon 2.303 R. Now this case slope is negative. So if we apply Clausius-Clapeyron's equation for a liquid at two different temperatures, if we apply Clausius-Clapeyron's equation, then we can write log P is equal to minus enthalpy of vaporization upon 2.303 RT plus constant, right? Say P1 is vapor pressure at P1 temperature and P2 is vapor pressure at T2 temperature. Then we can write log P2 by P1 is equal to minus enthalpy of vaporization upon 2.303 R of 1 by T1 minus 1 by T2. So this one is Clausius-Clapeyron's equation at two different temperatures. So this one also we can write as log P2 by P1 is equal to enthalpy of vaporization upon 2.303 R of here T2 minus T1 upon T1 T2 log P2 by P1 is equal to delta H vaporization upon 2.303 R of 1 by T1 minus 1 by T2. Or log P2 by P1 is equal to enthalpy of vaporization upon 2.303 R of T2 minus T1 by T1 T2. Also, here if you write, if you put here negative, then it will be 1 by T2 minus 1 by T1. Or if you put negative here, log P1 by P2. So, by putting negative charge here, we can write this formula. Or without negative charge also, we can write the formula. So when you maintain here negative charge, then it will be P1 by P2, or else here 1 by T1, 1 by T2 minus 1 by T1. Now, H2O liquid goes to H2O vapor stage. So this process what we call vaporization, and reverse process what we call condensation. This vaporization and condensation takes place continuously at a particular temperature, right? But when equilibrium established here, at what position, means how do we know that equilibrium established, or how do we know that when the liquid goes to boil or not? At a particular temperature, a particular liquid is going to boil or not, how we came to know? For that, let us assume this is P external, means external pressure how much is there? External pressure how much is there? And this is saturated pressure, saturated vapor pressure. Saturated vapor pressure is nothing but vapor pressure accepted by vapor molecules when it is in equilibrium with its liquid, right? That what we call the saturated vapor pressure. If P external is equal to P saturated, if P external is equal to P saturated, in such a case boiling takes place. In such a case boiling takes place. And if P external is greater than P saturated, then evaporation takes place. If P external is less than P saturated, then condensation takes place. So here three cases are there. First one, P external is greater than P saturated, then evaporation takes place. Means external pressure is more, vapor pressure is less. External pressure is more, vapor pressure is less. In such a case, what happens? Evaporation takes place. That in our regular life, everybody is going to experience that one. If you go to kitchen, mom is going to cook some food, right? So in the vessel, let us assume that this is a vessel and it is covered by lid. Now, until unless liquid is going to reach boiling temperature, this lid remains there only. Before that, liquid goes to vapor state, and means vaporization takes place. Simultaneously, condensation also takes place. When we provided heat energy continuously, what happened? More and more amount of liquid goes to vapor state, and internal pressure, what happened? Increases. And until that particular point here, external pressure is going to work here upon the lid. Then what happens here? Whenever temperature increases, with increasing temperature, vapor pressure also increases. Because of vaporization of liquid increases, vapor pressure increases. Until unless it equal to external pressure, until unless vapor pressure equals to external pressure, here what happened? This lid is still in constant position. Whenever this internal vapor pressure is more than external pressure, then what happened? You try to uplift the lid. Means in such a case what happened? Vapor pressure is more than external pressure. Pressure of liquid does not depend upon the amount of liquid. Whatever the liquid you consider, ultimately vapor pressure remains same. It is independent of amount of liquid and surface area of liquid. So you may consider that more the surface area, more the number of molecules goes to vapor stage. Yes, that is true. More the surface area, more the evaporation takes place, obviously more number of molecules goes to vapor state. In such a case, we are expecting, because of more number of molecules goes to vapor state, more pressure they can exert, right? But yes, that's true, more pressure exert. But surface area also increases now. That's why vapor pressure remains the same. And third one, volume or shape of the container. Whatever the volume, whatever the shape of the container, vapor pressure is independent.